listeners. That's actually people that tuned in and listened or watched. And when they saw that, and they realized that I had on average 30 to 45 million tuning in every week before that, and they saw our new plateau every week of about 50 million tuning in, they said, we've got to shut this down. But they were always arrogant. Before, Drudge Report's been the biggest news site in the United States for 20 years. And up until about 2 years ago, they were still saying Drudge is going down, Drudge is going to fall apart, Drudge is over, Drudge is a joke. And he was always bigger than they were. And now they finally don't say that anymore. They go, okay, it's the second biggest website period in the world and the largest news site in the world by an order of many, many magnitudes. So a website that 2 or 3 people run has more traffic than all the mainstream media combined. And then you go down from there and you've got InfoWars, even on their own rigged rating services like Alexa, run by Amazon and Jeff Bezos, where we're thousands of rating levels ahead of MSNBC.com. So again, how do they deal with a website that's got 10 people working at it and it's got many times the traffic? I mean, some days thousands of times the traffic. The mainstream media, the mainstream culture, the mainstream establishment, universities, and the power elite of both political parties have been rejected. There is a global political realignment taking place on a planetary scale. And the establishment knows that, and they don't know what to do. So that's the point we've gotten to. And we are here in the middle of a very, very serious global revolution. And it's up to all of us to be the Paul Reveres in the modern age to raise the alarm. So I commend the press that's here. You know, I see people right here like Mr. Kincaid. I remember when he used to be on CNN on Crossfire, back when that show had up to 15 million viewers, because they had real people on there having real debates. Now he's here with his little camera, you know, writing his news articles, but he's just as important as he ever was, you see. But that's the example of why did mainstream media die. It wasn't just that the competition came along. They got rid of all the real debate. They got rid of the people that weren't just following talking points but had their own ideas. They got rid of the real diversity in media that made it interesting to tune into. And I remember in high school watching Crossfire and, you know, tuning in to see all these people debate and have their arguments for Pat Buchanan to you name it. But now, again, it's not real anymore. It's all just cookie cutter reading off teleprompters, and that's why the mainstream media is dead, because they committed suicide. The mainstream media killed itself by becoming nothing but repeaters and nothing but parrots that put out corporate and globalist and socialist garbage. And now as they slide into the grave like the Crypt Keeper, like reanimated zombies, mainstream media from MSNBC to CNN to the Washington Post are trying to drag us into the grave of history with them when history is on our side. The globalists are going to lose. They will never be able to suppress free speech.
This is history in the making, guys, just so you know.
Said, we will have a bloodless revolution, as a quote, and we will crush American conservatives. We will crush their free speech. That sounds like famous last words of other dictators we've heard of before. Think of the arrogance of these billionaires. I will crush you. We will crush you. We already know we've been shadow banned for years. We already know you've been censoring us. We already know you have bots piling on to try to use peer pressure to make us give up. That only makes us fight harder. And guess what? It's not just Donald Trump getting elected. It's all over the world. Populists are getting elected and the establishment is panicking. Getting back to the lawsuit, I'm going to have my distinguished lawyer come up here and break this down for folks. The heart of the matter is that we never said the things that Mr. Gilmore is complaining about in this political lawsuit funded by George Soros. He says that we reported that he's involved in some kind of shadowy government conspiracy to kill the protester in Charlottesville and stage a coup to overthrow President Trump. I don't know where he got that one from. It wasn't from us. Yes, George Soros has said he wants to overthrow Trump. They bought full-page ads in the New York Times. And yes, they funded Antifa. That's what we were talking about. Not saying he was George Soros or that he was the whole operation. No, he just went and took photos. He's an innocent guy. And we never said anything about him, saying that he was involved hurting that lady that died that got run over. We said Soros funding Antifa mobs around the country and the police standing down